This video is sponsored by Win-Win Technology, your ultimate flight sim hardware solution, featuring the Orion hull test, current and future configurations.
Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. We're cracking on with our next naval attack because we just want to get through them. So, to our valued viewer request sheet, and if we pop over here, zip, 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 we get this weapon, the KH-31A anti-ship missile. It is Russian. It's fired in-game by the Su-24 and the Su-33 and possibly others. The KH-31 comes in several designations. The A is the original anti-ship version, in service 1988 to 2021. Propulsion is solid rocket motor to get it supersonic and up to speed with a ramjet sustainer. Maximum speed altitude of Mach 3.5. Guidance is inertial navigation plus a terminal tracking radar. Terminal kinematics is sea skimming to avoid fire. The warhead is 220-pound penetrator warhead compared to an average modern anti-ship missile like an AGM-84 Harpoon, which has nearly a 500-pound warhead. So this is less than half the size. So it's going to mean you're either going to target smaller ships or put lots of these into a larger ship. Range of the missile, an absolute maximum of 40, firing from high, 28 miles on the deck, about half of what a Harpoon can do. So, very fast missile, supersonic, smaller warhead, and half the range of an AGM-84. Very interesting missile. We have tried it in one of our massive coalition attacks where we had a Russian air wing attacking a US carrier group. However, it was mixed in with all sorts of other anti-ship missiles and we never really got a good look at it. So we're getting a good proper test of it today. Here is our setup. We are attacking a US carrier group today. Here's the problem. Now we've gone to a more realistic way of setting these out. The distances are getting so big, it's getting difficult to find oceans big enough. We've got the Black Sea here, and you can see with our current setup of 200 to 250 nautical miles, we're taking 60% of the sea up, which is becoming a bit of a problem. I mean, you could fit the whole kind of width of my country in the gap that we're going to be fighting over. Let's start with the defenders. So they're the US, and we've just used them because they are the modern top standard of a carrier group, obviously. We've got in the middle a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered carrier. On board are 32 FA-18C Legacy Hornets pretending to be Super Hornets. Each of them are carrying 4 AMRAAM-Cs, 2 Sparrows, 3 bags, and 2 Sidewinder X's. As far as DCS is concerned, these really aren't that different to a Super Hornet, bearing in mind that the AESA radars aren't modelled, the long-range Delta variants of the AMRAAMs aren't modelled, the kinematics of this aircraft to the Super Hornet isn't that different, so there'll be a decent enough analogue. 32 of them. As soon as their AWACS sees a hostile incursion, they will scramble, spread out in a fan, and destroy everything and fight to the death. The usual stuff. The defense is the usual stuff. It's just a defensive 360 formation of 4 Arleigh Burke 2s and 2 Ticonderoga cruisers at the front, so a full battle group formation. Airborne is a couple of guys. I mean, I don't know what the role play is. They're just in the Black Sea doing something. They're not trying to start a war or anything. They're just here. So they've only got 2 aircraft airborne. One is going to be an AI, and the other is going to be Simba. Say hello, Simba.
Hello, I came for the Sochi Olympics.
That's what he's really into. Sochi Olympics, that's a thing as well. Or was a thing. Armed up the same, so giving them a total of 7 ships, 35 aircraft with the AWACS, which is a Hawkeye who's just buzzing about doing his Hawkeye-like things. Next, the attacking force. Distance is going to be 206 nautical miles, which is about the distance we've tested that the AWACS at 26,000 feet. We'll pick them up in-game, assuming they're a relatively small cross-section, which they are, they're fighter size, and they're on the deck, and they're literally skimming the wave. So it's the best conditions for the attackers that they could possibly achieve. 206 nautical miles. If they're higher up, it's more like 300 miles. When the AWACS actually detects them, they will send orders to these fighters here and here automatically, and they will start scrambling and head towards these fighters, and it will be pretty soon because I've tuned it to be just over threshold. Next, let's look at the Russian attack. They're attacking for, well, they just want to try their new missiles out, essentially, or I do. They've got an AWACS who's at high altitude, so he's having to start 300 miles away, about 270 nautical miles, and he's going to push in just to give SA to the fighters and provide them a data link. First of all, the bombers. 4 flights of 4, totaling 16 Su-34 fallback duckheads. Each of them can carry 6, and this is where it gets interesting, 6 KH-31As. As well as that, they've got 2 extended range Alamo radars a couple of archers for self-defense, and jamming pods, which they will use for self-protection. Their task is to move in on the deck at 500 knots. At this point, waypoint 1, they will pop up to what we call optimum altitude for the anti-ship missiles. They can launch them at any altitude, but if they launch them on the deck, they've only got a few miles range, so they're going to pop up to 6,000 or 7,000 feet to get that perfect balance between altitude and vulnerability against the SM-2s. This has turned out to be quite a difficult thing to do because these are relatively short-range anti-ship missiles. It's actually hard to get them to fire and not get shot down by the SM-2s. The last leg, they're going to burn in at maximum speed, 7,000 feet, launch their missiles and run away. So that is a total of 16 times 6, which I can't do in my head. It is 96 KH-31A is going to be launched against the Americans today. Supersonic missiles. That's going to be interesting and very deadly. Protecting them are 5 groups of flanker A's, totaling 20 aircraft. They are tasked to fly at high altitude. They start on the deck for radar purposes, then they fly at high altitude, burn ahead on burner, get ahead of the fullbacks and distract the Hornets. They are armed with, typical late 80s, 90s Russian missiles. 6 Alamos, 2 ETs included, 2 archers and self-protection pods. Fight to the death, that's all they've got to do. And that's it. Very simple attack. Let's talk about predictions. Simba, I've not seen this all the way through, but I have tested individual flights to check everything works and everything does. There are no bugs. Your predictions, I know what you're going to say already, but your predictions.
I shall defend it with my face today.
You have infinite respawns because the distances are going to be vast and the timings are going to be quick. You probably will only get 2 lives anyway, so don't worry too much about the respawns. Value viewers, it won't make a massive amount of difference. Right, for me, it's a difficult one. It's a good missile close up. It will kill a carrier group. I guarantee it. The question is, because we're doing realistic rules now with big, look, it's half a sea we're fighting over. There's lots of time for those Americans to get informations and get fighting. Can they get there? If they get past the first few Hornets, that's a dead carrier group. If the Hornets do their job and scramble quickly and efficiently and stop them getting within 60 miles or something, the Americans will win. So, this is an interesting one. Stand by. 3, 2, 1, go! Simba, you can't attack until your wingman attacks because that's when the AWACS would have spotted it. And you are not a fortune teller. Let's go and look at some of today's goodies, baddies. Baddies, I suppose, if they're red. I don't know. You tell me. I'm not into geopolitics. Flankers going high, getting fast to go and do the intercepts, the fullbacks. Low, hiding from the radar. Not that low, actually. Sometimes I ask them to hug the deck and they refuse, but I mean, they're pretty... Oh, it looks like they've been spotted now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Is he attacking, Simba? He's attacking, isn't he?
Yep, he climbed.
Yep, he's got burners on. All right, Simba, in you go. So, Americans have been alerted. Let's go and have a look at them. However many times I see it, I always enjoy watching a super carrier launching its babies. There's little men walking around. One interesting thing, valued viewers, is I don't know, in case you're not used to using a mission editor, in case you just watch these videos, I don't get full control of what these aircraft do. I give them, for instance, a waypoint. These fullbacks, I say, start at this altitude. I want you at this altitude at this waypoint and speed. I want you at this altitude and this point. And so I give them those orders, and then they kind of follow those orders, but they make their own decisions. The speeds they go might change if they're under threat, for instance. They might go low and hide and try and be stealthy if they haven't been detected and stuff. So I give them rough idea what to do, and then their own intelligence, quote unquote, AI, will decide exactly what to do in between those things. So you can see them climbing now already. And I guess it's because they know they've been detected. Simba and Simba Lead are... Remember, they can't see the Russians on their own radar yet. This radar will only look out about 40 miles for a target that size, so they're purely based on what the E2 Hawkeye sees at the moment, which is a much more powerful radar and can easily see up to 300 nautical miles in some cases against this 50 AWACS, for instance, which is a large radar cross-section and is emitting EW. Benefit of this guy here is that it is feeding information about the blues to these guys here, which they can do without, but it just helps them have an awareness of where their buddies are and coordinate an attack plan, again, in their little AI minds. Okay, here we go. Okay, blocks are going up. If you wonder why we call them bogs, valued viewers, I don't even really know anymore. It was a joke we said about 3 years ago and it just stuck. So we just tend to call them bogs now. They're extremely capable fleet defense fighters. I still don't think as good as the Tomcat. I think Tomcat, in this scenario here, which was really what the Tomcat was designed for, reaching out really far, really quickly, because these potentially would have had nuclear tip missiles in the Cold War, you know. And so it's imperative that Tomcat got out, the A version, the really fast one, the Mach 2.5 one. You know, 2 or 3 Phoenixes would be presumably out here by now because they're so much faster than the Hornets. And they'll be launching their missiles at probably over 100 nautical miles, so launching their missiles there. So it wouldn't be far off that missiles would already be coming out from the Tomcat. Whereas these guys have got to get within, what, 40 miles for an AMRAAM? Absolute optimal, an AMRAAM-C. So, I don't know, it's just a difference in doctrine. And I guess that threat just isn't there anymore. The old Cold War. Well, literally, this threat we've got here, it's just not here anymore, is it? It's not going to happen. But in the Cold War, it could easily have happened. So, there you go. How are you catching up with your little guy, Simba
He's
fast, isn't he? He is fast, isn't he? Bless his cotton sock. He really wants that war. You probably don't need all that gas. Your fuel burn rate is so slow up there. Weapons-wise, the US weapons are just more modern in the game, really. You've got late 90s AMRAAMs, maybe early 2000 AMRAAMs, the Charlies. I can't really remember. The Russians have got old, kind of late 80s, early 90s weapons. Alamos, there. Archers there. Archers, 80s, Fox 2 missiles. So the weapons of the Americans are more modern and better. Now, the fighters have got well ahead of the fullbacks of 10 miles, which is exactly what we wanted. We want these guys not even necessarily to shoot the Hornets down. That's not what they're here for. It's to create a buffer zone. What's that sport you have where people wear the helmets? And you have the fullbacks or something, and they go and pound everyone. And then the runners, which are these guys, the skinny guys. Football. You call it football, don't you? Even though you don't kick it with your foot. And then these guys can get through and fire their missiles. So these guys need to tangle these guys up. Obviously a massive head start from the Reds because they're in battle formation. Look at that. Zap, 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 zap. Lovely formation, covering each other. Probably going to go into wingman pairs. Where the Americans are just getting out what they can. And rightly so, because all that matters is getting out and fast and blocking these guys before the KHs come out. So they're just burning, I imagine, maximum speed. Surprised they don't dump their tanks because that's their prerogative. They're an AI. They can do what they want. Jules on the stream says it's American football. It's American football, it's called, Simba. Oh, look at Simba flying formation. Showing off. More likely he's using him as a meat shield, like I do with him.
Gotta learn from the best, right?
Exactly right, yes. I don't think anyone's ever said that before, but yes. Right, so distances between fronts of 80 nautical miles, about 90 miles, so a long way to go yet. And it just shows the vast distances. Vast distances. I mean, like I was saying, that there to there is like the width of my entire country. The Hornets have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 up. 11 Hornets up, which is quite impressive. 12 Hornets up. And a whole bunch more coming. The Russians have seen the target on their own radars now, 60 miles. And now they're planning, they're doing whatever AI does, probably splitting into wingman pairs, I imagine, for a conveyor belt, 2 front, 2 rear. Having a guess, you can see what's going on here, which is quite clever, right? 36,000 feet, flankers likes going high. I guess they need that for their posturing Alamo missiles. Distance between fronts of 60 miles, a few swigs of tea before the boom boom starts.
I've got them on the AWACS. They're about 60 miles out.
Roger. This has a much more realistic simulated radar than these guys here. So these guys here can see these guys about 60, 70 miles away, I think. Whereas this has a more realistic modelled radar on Simba's plane, so he won't see them until, like I said, about 40 miles or about maybe 60 miles for a big aircraft like that. So Simba has to wait, and he can't fire on data link like you can in real life, so he has to wait until he sees them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 Hornets up now at 40 miles. Things are about to happen, I can tell. 36,000 feet appears to be optimal for the flanker. Max burn, supersonic, as fast as you can get. And of course that's to transfer as much mechanical energy into those Alamos as they can to get maximum range. Simba's going for a shot here. He's got 30 miles. You can see them on his radar now. That would be a very scary thing to see, having all of that on your radar. Just I mean, I don't know if the radar would even cope. Missiles out from Simba and his Simba's buddy. Really good missiles. Wow, 40,000 feet. Massive aerial warfare. Oh, and the Alamos are out. Radar-guided Alamos are out and going into a defensive notch. Or defensive crank, sorry. So defensive crank means it's going to turn away to deflect that missile, but allow the radar still to track this guy, because this is a Fox 1. It needs tracking. So it needs a constant track. And there's a lot going on here. First AMRAAMs are coming in now. Defensive measures. Want to watch that first AMRAAM going in. Could this... Wow, look at all that. Could this be first blood to Simba? No, the missile's gone duff. It's gone bad. Possible hits here. He's notching. Is it going to hit him anyway? Yes! One flanker down. Two flanker down. Lots coming out now. Now, flankers do not like dodging stuff at these altitudes. These vast altitudes. It makes them very vulnerable. Ooh, here's an ET. This might hit a Hornet. Very hard to dodge. Very hard to evade these ET missiles. Oh, he tried. Lucky. I count 3 flankers down and 1 Hornet down. Simba's found the fullbacks. No, he hasn't. It's just going above them. That guy... No, missed. Very hard to see who's winning at the moment. I'd say the Hornets are probably winning. Just better missiles. More suited to this altitude. Simba's got a missile on the fullbacks. Now, that's good tactics. Dodge, because he's not falling for the play. Flanker down. And 1 fullback team flight has just been upset. Hit Simba's missile. I don't think it's going to kill anything, but it's upset them. And that's stopping them putting KH-31s on the carrier. Look at that guy. He's going nuts. Proper crazy Ivan in this fullback. Never think I've ever seen an AI drive like that. Well done. Simba merge fullbacks. They will fire at him. Just trying to look at the bigger picture here. The greater good. ET out. Very dangerous missile for that guy there. ET is an Alamo IR guided. It's passive and non-emitting, so it can't be detected because we don't have an MWS on the Hornet. There's another ET, potentially dangerous. Alamos can be dangerous up here because they are powerful. They will go a long way at these altitudes. That guy's a high angle of attack and he's dead. He's stalled. Look at that. He just stalled into that missile. That's a him problem. All AI is set to maximum ace, the best we can do in game. So they are pretty good. If you try and fight them, they're not easy. Another flanker down. Got to have a sip of tea. Fullbacks have been attacked. No, they haven't. The high missiles have gone duff. Ooh, it's hard to keep track of this. What do you want to look at, valued viewers? Has that guy gone down? He did. That was a fullback down again. 2 fullback teams dead. No. 1. Well done, Simba. Simba took that whole fullback team apart from him. He was actually being trapped by that. But 3 fullback teams remain in order. And lots more American reinforcements coming. That's important because the flankers are disappearing heavily. But the Americans have a friggin' AIM-9X in play. Look at that. Look at that. Now, it's a short-range missile, but at these altitudes, it'll go 15 miles. Because there's no drag. Another one. Nice. Really, right. These latest reinforcements are really sucking it to them. Are you airborne again, Simba Wimba?
I am.
Yep, they're struggling. The flankers are really struggling now. There's just not much they can do tactically. You know, they're not allowed to run away. I won't allow them to. So they've really got to just charge into a wall of AMRAAMs. And try and notch. But notching at 40,000 feet is really hard. Plane doesn't like being up there. And I would say that's almost all of them dead, actually. The Americans have done extremely well. 2 flankers left. And loads of Americans coming in. Possibly even one on a fullback there. However, the Russians have flanked round the side. There's a southerly flank move they've done, Simba. FYI. How many Hornets have been shot down? I don't know. 10, maybe? That's an ET. He doesn't even know it's there, look. There's nothing giving him away. But it's there. Good shot. This fullback group have split, but they're still on task. There's 1 defender left. There's 1 air-to-air guy left to take down. And he's got no missiles left. They've just eaten through. So Alamos are being fired by the fullbacks. The fullbacks have decided they've got to do it on their own. Oh, he's dropped his anti-ship missiles. He's dropped his anti-ship missiles. He's going air to air. He's got an Alamo being fired up at some guy. So he's quit his mission. Probably the whole flight have quit their mission. Oh, but there's too much engineering. There's just too much engineering going on here. They can't avoid this stuff. Look at that. Good dodges from the Russians. Still got the southern groups to think about. Oh, what's going on here? That's tracking. That's a fullback being tracked. Wow, the Sparrows are out. You know you're getting dirty when the Sparrows are out. Bloody useless missiles. Fullback down. The fullbacks just aren't equipped to fight with Hornets. They're too big, they're too heavy, they're too slow. They've only got a couple of Alamos and a couple of Archers. They can't mess with these guys with really decent 2,000 plus a year weapons. Look at that guy getting chased. Ivan must run. This guy's firmly beaten. He's got no weapons left. He's nothing to give. He's just running away, running home. Oh, the fullbacks have been intercepted by this guy. And look, the AI decided I'm going to send one guy to intercept fullback team, one guy to intercept fullback team. So the AI have done a really good job planning that attack, that defense. And pretty much this is over because, I mean, these guys are, like I said, got a couple of Alamos, but they're defenseless, basically. Against the bog. A9X out. It's going to be Don's Le Visage. Yep. He's trying to flare, but it's resistant to old Russian flares, this thing. Really good manoeuvring. That's a big, heavy bomber. 25-ton bomber. But, you know, it's not going to compare with a Hob. And the Russians have been shattered. Look, AWACS has got here. But he's like, all my babies are dead. A9X. If I can find it, which I can't. And it hit. And it really is just a case of clearing up now. Amra! Boom! So, the answer is, can a KH-31 squadron, it was a big squadron. No, it wasn't even a squadron, it was an air wing, a 37 aircraft with AWACS. Can it beat a US carrier group? No, it can't. All done fairly and squarely. It can't get within, it was 70 miles out. The only way it could have worked is if they had long range modern anti-ship missiles, which is why they have long range, because no one gets 40 miles to a carrier. It's just impossible. So the weapons simply aren't suited to a carrier attack, and hence they would never use them on a carrier attack in modernity. See it through to the end anyway for the satisfaction. Oh, this guy's fighting back. There's an Alamo against an American. No, it's missed. And that guy's toast. That guy. I wonder why they fight the guy in front of them instead of above them. It's because they can't really see above them or below them in a lot of the case. Again, trying to beat a Hob in a 25-ton plane. Ain't gonna happen. Same thing. Nothing he can do. Might as well be a B-52. I'm surprised the Americans aren't completely out of ammo by now. There's so many AMRAAMs gone in there. Maybe 50 AMRAAMs. Come and get the last fullback. They've got no weapons left, look. A couple of Sparrows that they refuse to fire because they're so rubbish. Where's Simba? Oh, there's Simba. Simba's coming in finally. So I said the distances are so vast that he just doesn't get time to respawn. He's got to go 100 miles just to get to the action. Fullback, run away. He's just going home now. Look, the Sparrows are out. Go on, Simba, finish him off. This guy's here. I don't think this guy's taken apart. I think they think he's dead. I think they think he's dead as well. So it's just one more guy, which is about to get shot. Boom! Well defended, Simba. They never stood a chance. That was a full air wing of 37 aircraft, armed up as strong as I could arm them. There was nothing they could do. By the looks of that fight, I would have to probably put it up to about 60 aircraft to get through. So, no, there's a useless weapon against a modern carrier group. But you know what? This is the second time I've not been able to see these weapons fired. I still haven't seen them actually fired, I don't think. So what I'm going to do now, Simba, you've won, is I'm going to go out and I'm going to remove all of the blue aircraft. I'm going to remove everything apart from the bombers. I just want to see the bombers firing the missiles so we can at least see them, because we're never going to get to see them. Welcome back. Everything removed apart from the bombers and those ships. Let's just see what happens, how these missiles fire. Are they rippled? Are they salvoed in groups? How fast do they move? How far can they fire away? I've asked these guys to fire as far away as they can for the altitude assigned. I get the feeling that this is not a weapon for attacking carrier groups. I get the feeling it's for attacking less defended vessels. Because even in the 1980s, OHPs, I think, were a thing, weren't they? Who could fire, 70 miles away. 30 miles, nautical miles. Still not firing. Still not firing. Oh, SM2s are out. This is the problem they find. They get shot before they can fire. Oh, and there we go. There go the missiles. One at a time. They're rippled. Or at least sent in pairs. We should see the trails of the Kryptons from here. Then they're having to defend. They can't fight them all because they're having to defend. Look at that. 3 there. 4 there. Having to judge when to dodge. Because SM2s are very powerful weapons. But there's still a lot. Ah, the missiles are getting shot down now. I think SM2s can actually change their target after they've been shot. Or kind of lock on after launch type thing. In fact, they can. I know they can because I've seen it happen. So missiles that have gone out for planes dodge. Missiles change and go for the other missiles if they're within parameters. Right, let's see, guys. See what happens. Speed is Mach 2, 1300 knots. Mach 2 on the deck. That's a very fast missile, and it's 40 feet, which is very low. That's a hard missile hard to stop a bunch of vampires like that. ESSM. Gonna get through. They're small warheads, but missed. Oh, damn. I hate it when that happens. We're gonna go for various ships, look. Probably go like that. It's the best thing to see. Oh, I don't know. Can't see anything. Oh. Everything's getting hit is the answer. Carrier's getting hit. Destroyer's getting hit. It's vampire saturation. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, it's 96 missiles, I guess. What do you expect? It's so interesting. They are small warheads. Look at their small little warhead. Dun, dun, dun. The carrier, at one point, the carrier just gives up. Oversaturation. Well, there you go. So, a good missile, I think, they can beat defenses if they get close enough. Now, and that's of course the problem because you've got to get, as we saw there, I don't know what it was, 20 miles, 18 miles, something like that. And it's the same problem as the Cold War one that I did the other day with missiles of this range. You just can't get close enough. So, nice little missile for shooting very small little task groups or something, but no use against a carrier group. Simba, anything to add at your end?
Nope.
Well done for your defending, and we'll see you later.